So Miami had just added defensive tackle Simeon Barrow in the transfer portal. And now he's trying to leave? What is going on?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Never a dull moment in college football. I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet and writer for allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen, or in this case, your second listen and your second watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Whenever we're talking defensive tackles, we have to bring in the man I call the defensive tackle aficionado. Bruce Warner is with us. So, Bruce, let me just update people on what we know with Simeon Barrow. I was really shocked when I started to hear these updates today. And by the way, kudos to Matt Zenitz and Gaby Urrutia from 24/7 Sports being really all over the story today, because Bruce, the last I'd heard about a week and a half ago about Barrow, who just transferred in earlier this month from Michigan State, was he was doing well in the offseason workouts and that Miami was appreciating his professionalism. And then we start to get these reports this morning that apparently after workouts yesterday on Thursday, he just left. Like, he left town, left the team. He told some teammates he was leaving. He was going back home to Georgia, that he was leaving the program. And then the reports about that started to trickle in today. Now, there's a lot about this that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, Bruce. But first of all, your initial thoughts and I think you might have found out about it when I texted you about it this morning. What's going through your mind today?
Well, obviously what you said about you never a dull moment. You can't count on anything anymore in life. I'm disappointed. Am I angry? No, I thought I would have been angry. I'm not angry. If he doesn't want to be here, get out. And two, if he doesn't want to be here, I know Mario. He doesn't want him here. He doesn't want. Luckily, it's only the last day of May. What happens if he pulled a stunt like this in September? So yeah, I know his father's behind a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of rumors going around that LSU gave him money and they want to get paid back. And
they had him locked into some kind of an agreement where he wouldn't go to any other SEC school. And now apparently they want to let him out of that agreement and he wants to go to Mizzou. We'll get to all this, but apparently I don't know about payment, but there was definitely some paperwork between him and LSU.
Yeah, I don't even know if they were allowed to restrict him in a contract. That contract might not be valid. I'm not sure you can do that. But if he wants out, he wants out. I don't know why he left the team. I don't know what happened. I'm still trying to find out. I'll ask some people. But yeah, I just found out when you told me this morning. But it's very bizarre. And again, the whole thing was bizarre. He took so long to make up his mind. And that was a concern. I'm thinking, what's wrong with this kid? Just do it and get it over with. But I guess he doesn't want to be here. I don't have any other answers right now. I can't tell you or the fans or the listeners or the viewers what changed his mind. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I've heard from other people that the father is involved with what he does and he pulls strings. That might be an issue. I mean, I heard something like culture shock. What? Culture shock for what? South Florida? Where has he been? He's been out partying.
It's really hot outside. Maybe he wasn't ready for that.
I don't think that's it. And I don't think it's the fact that Mario makes it tough. Where was it? It was soft at Michigan State. There has to be something in his background or something about money or something that's causing him to take off like this. Just take off. Do you know if he even said anything to Mario or he just walked out?
I don't know that. All that I heard in the initial report was he had said something to teammates. But here's the thing, like, I totally get what you're saying, that, like, Mario wouldn't want somebody here that doesn't want to be here. But then this is still so much more complicated because he can't literally just leave. Like, that there are still rules in place. Now, I know everybody saw those headlines last night about how, the NCAA doesn't enforce transfer rules anymore. That's partially true, but it's not completely true. there still are designated windows where you have to enter the transfer portal. So what the NCAA no longer enforces are restrictions on how many different schools you transfer to, and they don't force you to ever sit out a year when you transfer, but you cannot on May 31st enter the transfer portal. Like there still is a rule against that. And so
yeah, that's what I said to you a few minutes ago, because what would happen if he goes, let's say he's at Miami and you got another stud at Penn State, another stud at Georgia, another one at Ohio State, and they all decide, you know what, let's go to Alabama. They're already 10-0. We're going to win a title. Why should we stay where we're at? So what? It's midseason. Let's just get out of here. I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah, you could transfer after a play. So I'm going to go play for the other game now. But no,
halftime, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and so with Simeon Barrow, and by the way, a couple people in the live chat have asked, who are we talking about? Well, it was in the episode title, but I'll say it again. We're talking about Simeon Barrow, defensive tackle who just transferred to Miami from Michigan State, reportedly has left the team and wants to leave. Now, here's where Barrow, Bruce, he was not only enrolled in summer classes at Miami, but has already been to class.
Yes.
So he's matriculated already. So he can't, like, not only are you technically cannot leave right now. I mean, I guess the only way he could leave by the rules would be if you want to forfeit your scholarship and go walk on somewhere, right? Because he's already locked into that scholarship. So I think he might be figuring that out, because one of the latest updates on this a couple of hours ago, Gaby Urrutia put this in 24/7. He says, it sounds to me like the lines between Miami and Barrow are opening back up. That matriculation factor is a massive one, he says. The path to him getting out of things due to that is hard based on my understanding of what it is that means. It's obviously flawed because Barrow wasn't officially matriculated, but on Miami's end, from a compliance standpoint, until this morning. So the contact between Missouri and Barrow wasn't illegal at the time, he says. So obviously there was, whether it was legal tampering or illegal tampering, there's been some contact with Missouri, which is reportedly where he wants to go. So I guess he wasn't technically matriculated until this morning. So it wasn't illegal contact, but it is illegal contact now, apparently. So Missouri can no longer contact him. He says,
unless it's not him, it could be his father. He's been running around doing all this stuff.
But that doesn't count. Like if you contact a family member, that doesn't. I mean, you would know better than me. You're a lawyer, so it's like, could they say, well, we didn't technically contact him?
It should count, but let's see what happens. Here's the thing: as far as this guy is concerned, I don't care. I cared. I wanted him. But he came here. If he doesn't want to be here, I'm not going to sit here and moan and groan about it. Get out. Let somebody else take his spot. You still have guys that we brought in the portal besides him. We still got Justin Scott, who's now here in South Florida. And as I mentioned to you last week and before, if Bain could play as a true freshman last year, and this kid is a 5-star, Justin Scott, why can't he play? Why can't he do just as well, if not better? He's bigger. He's stronger. I mean, he's here late, which bothers me, but he didn't finish school until recently. So he's got 3 or 4 more months. Let's see what he does. Let's see what the other guys do that they brought in. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and cry about Barrow. If he stays, he stays. If he doesn't, good riddance. It's not going to ruin what we've accomplished in the offseason. And I'm not going to let it ruin it. I'm not going to just sit here and bash the kid. Let him go if he wants to go. But your point is well taken. He might not be allowed to go, which is another story.
Right. And that I want to talk about what could happen next year. Again, folks, it was breaking news today that apparently Simeon Barrow is not with the team. He just transferred to Miami early in the month of May, but he left the team after workouts yesterday, reportedly, and he's indicated to Miami teammates that he's going to be leaving the team. So what happens next? You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. There's a lot of reasons why GameTime is the only ticket app that I use. I'm getting incredible deals, last-minute deals, and they put everything up front for you. I know that GameTime always keeps everything on the level. And, hey, if you're looking for tickets to the NBA Finals coming up, how cool would it be to go to a game? GameTime makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off, with killer last-minute deals all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Folks, the zone deals are awesome. You can save even more when you choose a section and let GameTime choose the seats for you. The all-in pricing is a game changer. You get the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. The lowest price guarantee, or GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you so much for making this breaking news episode of Locked On Canes your first listener, your first watch today. Alex Donno and defensive tackle aficionado Bruce Warner is with us. Now, Bruce,
Why'd you give me
shared,
that moniker for? Why'd you give me? I'm not a defensive tackle.
You love defensive tackles. That's all you talk about. And this is, I had to.
Before you say anything, so this guy, Young Bucks, he says, I heard Barrow wasn't promised the starting job. And then other people saying, well, he took one look at Justin Scott and said, I'm out of here. That's not true. But the part about wasn't promised the starting job, you better believe that's true. That is definitely true. Mario,
I'm sure that's true. I don't know if that has anything to do with why he wants to leave, but I'm sure that's true. And so here's the thing, like, a lot of people who are in our live comments right now are like, we don't even want this guy anymore. Get out of here. Like I still want to understand why he wants to leave. I don't know what kind of psychological issue there could be for him. I don't know. Maybe there's a conflict that can be resolved. Like, I've not completely shut the door on the idea that there may be a window of opportunity for Simeon Barrow to still play here. Like, I've not shut the door on that. Do you think, and again, you weren't wrong. Like what you said about Mario Cristobal, he doesn't want a guy playing for him who doesn't want to be here. Do you think there's a path to reconciliation? Do you think after everything that's gone down so far today, and apparently it started yesterday when he allegedly left the team, do you think there could be a path to reconciliation between Simeon Barrow and the Miami Hurricanes? Because I do.
Yes, because as much as I said, Mario doesn't promise anything, and if he doesn't want to be here, he's not going to want him here. But he also has a good heart. He knows this is a young man. He may be confused. So I think obviously he knows more about this than we do. But the answer is yes. I think it can be rectified. Again, I don't know. Look, I'm thinking a million things. The father's involved in all these decisions. Maybe he's just a 20-year-old spoiled kid. And if it doesn't get his way, I want to go home to mommy and daddy. I don't know. We know that talking to all those former players we'd have on, you can't have an attitude like this because they would have kicked this guy's ass right out the door last week if he walked in with, I want this and I'm supposed to be getting that and I'm promised this. So I don't know any of this stuff. But right now, there's a decision that has to be made. And somebody's got to tell this kid, I'm assuming, hey, you can't leave.
Yeah.
He's already left. He physically left. Can he get away from the team? That's another story altogether.
Obviously you can't, nor would you want to force him to play for the team, but he can't just go like to Missouri and say, hey, give me that scholarship. I'm here. I'm playing. Like there are still rules where, hey, you can't transfer on May 31st when you're already enrolled and matriculating at another school. There is still that rule. Okay. So, man, and if this does end up, because I don't know, maybe over the last couple of hours, people think there might be an opening for reconciliation. When this story first started breaking, late morning today, it seemed like he's going to be gone more than likely. So how does Miami move forward, Bruce? Because, I don't want to be disingenuous, right? Because before Miami landed Barrow, when we did a bunch of shows talk about, we'd love to grab another defensive tackle. This is a guy we really wanted. We wanted Barrow. We wanted his teammate Harmon, who ended up going to Colorado. So I'm not going to pretend Miami didn't need this guy, okay? So this is a player we wanted.
But you don't know that. We still have Clark, right? We still have Cook.
DJ Clark.
We still have Josh Horton. Now, this Young Bucks guy makes another good comment. Horton may be solid, but we don't know. Moten, we still have Moten. So I think we still may be okay. You know what else is interesting? I'll just put the spin on this. Similar to some of our juniors that left in the offseason to go to the NFL. You don't think this is going to affect his NFL an attitude like this, if he walked
That's a
out
good
at
point.
Miami, do you
That's a
think
red
those
flag.
scouts are going to spend money on this kid? He really didn't think. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he picked Miami, but I don't know why he doesn't want to be here. And I'm telling you, it's going to impact his NFL career. It will.
Yeah, even if this does get resolved in a way where he stays on Miami, people are going to
Yeah.
wonder, like, what happened? Like, what happened on May 31st? What was going on? He's going to have to, answer
You sit
questions
down
about
with Mario and you say, "Listen, unless he did." But if he just walked out on his own, I don't know if Mario wants him back. Even if the kid's forced to stay, he may have to. Well, could he sit out a year and go someplace else next year? I guess so.
I guess so. I mean, he's got 1 year of eligibility left, but he could probably sit out and not use that and then play somewhere
Yeah, but
next
that's
year.
not going to help his NFL stock. That's for sure.
No,
He came to the perfect spot. They're going to win a lot of games. He's going to be on national TV almost every week. There must be something really wrong. I mean, Missouri, yeah, they're good, but whoever watches them?
You know what they do have? And again, I don't know, because a lot of people on the live chat are like, oh, this has got to be all about NIL. Honestly, I don't know how much that factors into it, if at all. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I do know Missouri's got some deep pockets, and they've got some very friendly NIL laws in that state. They're like ahead of the curve for the rest of the country. So if it did have something to do with that, that would make sense why Mizzou has emerged here.
And I said to you off the air yesterday, we were talking. I said, you know something, somebody could have made him a better offer, and he's going to take it. And let's see what happens. I don't know if he's allowed to, but I think you're right about Missouri. Whatever Miami was giving him, it's more.
Yeah.
And he wants out.
Yeah, I see what Deshaun is saying in the chat. Don't downplay Mizzou. They just won 10 games in the SEC. No,
I'm not downplaying them at all.
Yeah, no, it's a good team. It's not a historic program, but it's a very good team. So yeah, we're not downplaying them at all. So as far as where it goes with Miami, if Miami does lose Simeon Barrow, obviously it takes away a guy who I think we both projected to probably start this coming season. It obviously affects your defensive tackle depth, which is not the deepest position group to begin with. You know, I would probably suspect, and again, fall camp is going to have to play out. We'll see who would emerge. I would probably think CJ Clark and Marley Cook would probably be the starters, at least at the beginning of the season inside. But like you said, I'd love to see what Josh Horton can do, see him get more playing time. Ahmad Moten had a pretty good spring. I heard a lot of positive feedback of him during spring football.
Right. He seemed a little quicker. He seemed quicker.
Yeah,
he seemed a little. It got into the gaps faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe didn't make a lot of tackles, but if you looked at the line of scrimmage, there was like a big clash and there was no running room, that's okay, you know. But we need the big bodies in there. We just can't have 265-pound tackles.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know, you mentioned Justin Scott earlier. He just arrived in South Florida. It was either yesterday or today. He's moving into his dorm room on Sunday. He's going to be rooming with our guy Booker Pickett Jr. And I'm not sleeping. Artavius Jones has been on campus for a little bit. You know, they called this guy the juggernaut in high school. These are true freshmen, though. So, you know, it may take a while to kind of ease them in and get them comfortable. But I like what you said. Like, you know, Ruben Bain last year was a guy who had an immediate impact on the edge. You've got to hope Justin Scott, who is one of the top-ranked defensive tackles in the entire country, that this guy can get in a groove pretty quickly and contribute.
Right. I have not seen Cook. I haven't seen Clark that much. So I really can't respond to whether they're going to be starters and if they're going to be good. But you're probably right. The young kids, but definitely you'll see Scott in the rotation. He will get at least 20 snaps a game, 15 to 20 snaps a game. You know, and he can't do any worse than Leonard Taylor, who practically did nothing. Yeah. Although a lot of people are going to say he had a good second half of the season, he didn't do anything. He was just non-existent for 3 years, as far as I'm concerned.
I know. Well, and then the other thing, when you talk about defensive tackle depth, something Miami is blessed with is versatility from a couple of their best defensive ends, can move inside if necessary. Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor. Hopefully Mesidor stays healthy this year. I know he's had the foot problems. He's got the special Adidas cleats and whatever, but you know, Bain and Mesidor are capable of kicking inside if necessary. So that does provide you some flexibility. But again, like I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, hey, we didn't need this guy. Don't even worry about it. No, Miami is, you know, character question marks aside, football wise, Miami is a better team with Simeon Barrow on it. And if he doesn't end up playing for Miami, that's going to hurt Miami a little bit. The question is how much.
Right. And I can't answer that because we never saw him play in a Miami uniform. So we don't know. But I think, look, you have to look at the entirety of this team. I think our offense is so good. The defense will not be asked to do that much. They give up 25 points a game. We should still win almost every single game. I don't know how people are going to stop us and hold us under 25 points. I have a hard time believing that. So, he was a part of the defense. We wanted a D tackle, but I still think we're going to be okay. As long as Bain, we expect to improve, hopefully Messidor. And you got some other guys that came in here that can play Alston, that can play D end. And as far as I'm concerned, I expect our defense to be very aggressive, very physical, and I just worry about the DBs because there doesn't seem to be anybody that's really a standout.
Yeah.
As good as Porter is, he still got hurt last year. He's little, but hey, it's part of life. The kid doesn't want to be here. He doesn't have to be here. I don't know whether would you want him here if he has to stay? Or what do you think of that?
Depending on, I don't know how many bridges he's actually burned, right? I don't know what he said to his teammates. I don't know if have he and coaches argued? Has he actually become like a problem? Because I don't know. Because the reporting on this, it might be something that doesn't necessarily match reality. But if he clearly has shown himself to be a culture problem, I don't think you bring him back onto the team. But then at the same time, you got to be so delicate with the way that you handle this because you don't just want to make exceptions and say, yeah, you know what? You can go and take your scholarship with you. Even though technically we're not supposed to do that, we're going to sign these special waivers and just kiss you goodbye. Go to Mizzou and have a great time. I think you have to play a certain amount of hardball, Bruce. And especially if there was potential tampering that came into play here, Miami can't allow themselves to get bullied. I mean, for any school, if you think somebody has been tampering with your recruits or tampering with your transfers, I think you need to put, and you would know this better than me being the attorney on the show, I think you do need to put a certain amount of energy going on offense a little bit and saying we can't just let, players and other programs just push us around like this.
Yeah, but again, I don't know what happened. So let's assume for the sake of argument, he didn't even, he may or may not have discussed it with his dad. He probably did. But let's assume he just said, I'm leaving. And he walked out, just got his bags, packed up, drove back home. Let's assume that there was no meetings with Mario. He just said, I'm out of here. I don't know how do you respond to that versus he went to Mario. I'm not happy. I just don't want to be here. I don't think it's fair to you guys because I don't want to be here. And if Missouri was tampering with him, how does Mario in Miami handle that? Like you just mentioned, what do? Do you just kowtow to it and say, okay, go ahead, go to Missouri, we'll let you out?
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
But you can't, because then everybody would do that. Oh, I didn't play last game.
I think what you might have to tell him is, so either you feel like you're comfortable letting him play here if that's what he wants to do, or you might have to tell him here, okay, if we can't fix the situation between us, you've got two options, right? You can sit out a year,
right,
and then next year go wherever you want to, or if you want to leave, we can let you leave, but then you've got to walk on somewhere. And you know what? Maybe those deep-pocketed Missouri boosters that I hear so much about will just say, hey, we'll pay you this crazy NIL deal that's a scholarship plus more money, right? Which, is another thing that's a gray area in the rules. And
you don't think Cormani got money from the Gators as a walk-on?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'm sure.
So this is no different.
Yeah. Well,
this is no different.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough situation, and Bruce, I needed not only your legal advice, but I needed the defensive tackle aficionado, because anytime something weird happens at the defensive tackle position, you're the guy that I go to. And since you value that position, which is a valuable position, but you value it more than most, have you changed your prediction from 10 wins to 6 wins because of this Simeon Barrow situation?
No, we're winning 10 games. Nothing's changed as far as I'm concerned. I trust the staff. I know the energy that they have down there. I've seen it. You've seen it. This team is locked in. They want to win. They're very angry. They can't wait to play the Gators. And this is just one guy who may or may not be here. We don't know if he really doesn't want to be here. I don't know if something happened. He doesn't want to be here. But if let's assume he's not here, it doesn't change my opinion at all. We're still going to kick Florida's ass. And I can't. The more I think about it, the more I can't believe they could even compete with us. To tell you the truth, but you know what? They're an SEC team. They're the Gators. They're going to be jacked up, and they're at home. So, we can't lay an egg early in the season against a team like that, because that would I think that would destroy everything Mario has done. But again, does anybody know? Does any of these people know if Barrow got money? Did he actually get it?
I don't know.
Well, what is NIL deal?
You mean from Miami or from LSU?
No, the NIL from Miami.
I don't know.
I mean, apparently, if he did take money from LSU, if he takes money from Miami, this is just bad. No, seriously, what kind of kid is this?
Yeah. Hopefully we get more answers, man. Hopefully we get more answers, or hopefully we get a reconciliation. Maybe there was a miscommunication. Maybe he wanted to drive home for the weekend. He forgot his phone. They just thought he ditched the team.
No, there's something going on here. But you know what?
Sure
next week is Legends Camp. I'm going to be out there.
Yeah.
You're going to be out there. Get some players for 2026.
Does Mark Caesar have any eligibility left?
No, he stayed. He was here 5 years. Are you kidding me?
Too bad.
He was here for 5 years. No, he doesn't have any eligibility left. You want him to play?
I'm thinking so. Maybe he suits up. Maybe he does.
Well, I'm going to talk to him in a little while, but this is just a very bizarre episode. I don't have any answers. You don't have any answers. Nobody has any answers. There's an awful lot of people saying, you know what, if he doesn't want to be here, goodbye, good riddance. That seems to be the consensus. He really didn't make any friends down here. He wasn't here for a couple of months, and he was here a week or two. He had a cup of coffee, and I don't know why he wants to leave, but we'll find out more later tonight, I'm sure, or tomorrow for sure. And so that's two mysteries in a row. Everybody's upset about this, and a lot of people pissed off about Trump and his fighting and his whatever. I can't even watch the news anymore.
Well, we provide the escape from all the political stuff. By the way, college football has plenty of drama. We don't even need the other stuff, but we appreciate everybody for making Locked On Canes your first listen, your first watch today. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel. If you listen to the audio version, make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. And we will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.